Well, hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to our next little interim project. This is a fun, quick one. We're gonna take this Eflite A10 64mm twin EDF and we are gonna turn it into this, a miniature version of the Blacksnakes large A10 that we just finished from Skymaster. So stay tuned and we'll wrap this up in one video. It's gonna be a fun video. Let's get this done. All right, guys. So pretty simple project, but it's going to be a fun one. We are taking this Eflite Thunderbolt. One of you guys contacted me and asked me to turn this into a Blacksnakes A10. So let's make this happen. What I've done is pause that thought. I'll grab my supplies I've picked up. All right, guys. So we've picked up some Vallejo. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. Airbrush colors, and pretty straightforward. We've picked up black, grabbed the darkest gray they had. Now we're going to add gray, or we're going to add black to this if we need to make it more black. And then we've added some, or we've picked up some matte varnish, and that's going to give us our final matte finish that we did on the big ones. So that's the basically the products that we're using. We're going to airbrush everything on this aircraft. With the foam aircraft, you have to be a little bit careful with peeling the paint off of the foam. So when we did the large aircraft, we used soft edge masking tape to do all of our masking. I don't think we'll be able to do that in this one. If we do use some of it, it's going to be we're going to have to reduce the amount of stickiness by sticking the sticky stuff on top of our shirts and picking up some dust before we stick it on. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge, probably the biggest challenge that I've been thinking about. So anyways, let's pull this plane out. We've got to pull this plane out and we've got to be able to put it back in the box to ship it back to the customer. So we've got to save everything, get it back in the box. All right, here's what it looks like when you first open the box. And it's well packaged, just like all the E-Flite aircraft. Of course, it's a foam aircraft, if you didn't know that. It has nice gear with acting struts. It's actually pretty cool. So anyways, let's pull this out of the box. And I just kind of want to video this, mainly so I know how it goes back in the box. All right, so we've got our nomenclature kit from Cali Graphics. Now, these are all of the stickers that are needed for the aircraft, or the decals, or decals. So these are all basically, I think, everything we need, and looks good. Nice set. All right, guys, so here is the kit. So it's pretty straightforward. We have a fuselage. We've got the main wing section, which is all one piece. We've got one of the rudders there, the horizontal or elevators. We've got the other rudder and the canopy. Now, those are the parts that we're basically going to paint. Now, we do also have all of our ordnance kit as well, too. They've just painted, the E-Flite guys just painted everything one color. We're going to be changing the gray, so we're just going to be painting the actual pylon itself a different color on all the ordnance kit, but we're just going to leave the ordnance in there for now and not worry about painting that till the end. So as a first step here on this aircraft, what we need to do is we need to pull off all the existing nomenclature. So these thin decals, stickers, decals, they're all needing to come off. So we want to pull all these guys off everywhere as a first step. So obviously we just want to be very careful, just get underneath it, peel it off. It's probably going to pull some paint off with it, but that is something we need to take off the entire aircraft. All right, so our copy candidate is way up in the roof now on our new pulley system. Thanks, David. That worked out absolutely awesome. Okay, so we've got all the nomenclature, decals, stickers, decals off of the A10. And you can see, obviously, that it's pulled a bunch of paint off with it. So you can see on the wing here, we took some of the stock gray that we have and we just brushed some on the wing just to see what it looks like, and also put some in the clear pan here just to see what color it ended up being, and definitely not dark enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play around a little bit with trying to make a custom color. So what I'll do in this case is just play around with colors and see what we can get to for the color. And once I kind of get a decent result, then I'll make some up in jars, and it just makes it less wasteful when you're doing it this way. So just a couple drops of the gray, 5. And then we know that we need to be blue. So I've got a couple blues here. I've got blue and blue. So this one's a little bit darker, not quite as vibrant. So we'll use this one. And we'll just put 1 drop of the blue in. Of course, trying to keep track of all the different colors you end up using. And then we'll put a drop of black primer in. Now what I do is use trusty bent screwdriver, because trusty is the best tool for this. And we mix it up. So we kind of have an idea of what the ratios are. We've got 5 drops of gray, 1 drop of blue, and 1 drop of black. And we'll see how that ends up working for us. And you can see I've got the cotton swab here, or the Q-tip. Don't want to use that because it's going to soak up some of the colors. So you want to use something hard like trusty to mix this up first. And then once it gets kind of nice and mixed up, then you can take your cotton swab and give it a better mix. So nice dark gray, possibly even too dark. So what I'll do is I'll take some of this and we'll just wipe it on the wing. So it's definitely more blue and probably darker. We'll see what happens when it dries, but it's definitely darker than what we're probably looking for. So what that means is we just need to adjust our ratios, right? So we might go 10 drops of gray, 1 drop of blue, 2 drops of black, and see how that works out. So basically getting those ratios down, and once we get a decent ratio, we will make larger batches. So I'm going to play around with this a little bit. We're going to write on this one that we've got 5 gray, 1 blue, 1 black. And we'll adjust from there. All right, so made up a whole bunch of different colors and tried a bunch of different combinations. Some very, very blue and very dark, and some so-so. What happened was it's a little hard to tell, but this one actually looks pretty good, but it ends up being really blue when you get it on the aircraft. And this is what we ended up going with, I think, is going to be 15 gray drops, 2 blacks. So eliminating the blue altogether. The blue just has kind of a weird effect to it, and it really shows up as blue, which kind of reminds me of the RAF, so like a Eurofighter color. Anyways, so the color we ended up going with, the 15 gray and 2 black, is right there. It's kind of in between, just a little bit lighter than the darker color on the aircraft. So that is pretty much the color chosen. Now we got a couple options here for making that color. We can count out drops and put them in the jars. I think is probably what I'm going to do, and it's going to be the most accurate way to do it, and just make sure everything's consistent. So there's a formula that we're using right there. Okay, and one of the parts of prepping this aircraft is we are going to take the drop pod here. We're going to glue this in place with foam safe CA, and then end up cutting this off and sanding it down so it's flush with the airframe. Now the new A10, which this one is, or the Blacksnakes scheme is, doesn't have this pod, so that's why I want to get rid of it. So we'll glue this on first, and then we'll worry about sanding that down afterwards. All right, so we're just getting prepped here to start painting the A10. A couple things that I'll show you here. So we glued this piece in yesterday, and I just cut most of it off with an X-Acto blade and then just gave it a light sanding. I've got a jar of the 15 gray 2 black mixed up. Easy to duplicate this, of course. And we are going to start off with the gray though, or black. So what we're using is just surface primer for the black, and that's going to be our final black color. Okay, so a couple things that we've done out of the box here. First of all, there's a sheet of stickers, decals. They're not really decals, they're stickers. 2 of these, the 2 long ones, go on the underside of the elevator. So they actually come to about here. But I did have to cut those off to leave access to the plug-in for the rudders. Now we can't put the rudders in and plug it in because this needs to go back in the box. So what the final thing the owner could do is just put a little piece of masking tape or clear tape over top of that, touch it up black, but this is all going to be painted gray anyway, so this will be painted gray and it'll pretty much hide it. So that's pretty much it for the preparation for the aircraft. We haven't done all the prep yet, so we've got areas like the lights and stuff here that need to be prepped off, but we're not going to worry about that right now because we're just starting off with the black surfaces. So what I'm going to do is paint the verticals, the rudders, and get those done just to get a feel and make sure we're happy with everything, and then we'll start working on prepping all the pieces off and spraying them. Now there are some pieces that are all solid colors, like the verticals are just black. The horizontal stab or the elevators are just gray. So we're going to get those done and out of the way, and then we'll start moving into the individual pieces. Now when we do things like the wing here, there's a significant portion that is black, but we're going to get everything painted gray, kind of keep it to this area, and then we'll do the black over top afterwards, but the whole underside is gray. The fuselage, similar type of thing where we've got the whole front portion is black, so we're just going to paint, you know, kind of just behind the canopy backwards is all going to be gray, and then we'll do all of our black details. So we've got our airbrush set up here, pretty rudimentary, but it definitely works. I've used this quite a bit. When we're painting lots of stuff like this, I've just got a vacuum hooked up there. That's what that thing is, attached to the mic stand. And then we've got our compressor and all that stuff ready to go. So I'm going to get started on this stuff, and if we come across anything exciting, I will show you guys the process. All right, so we've got everything prepped off on the rest of the fuselage and wings and all that stuff. You can see here we've got the gray all painted on this wing, and it actually looks great. It's just a wonderful color. Just what I was shooting for, right in between the dark and the light there, and compared to the color that we used on the full the larger A10, I was going to say full size, but compared to the color on the larger A10, we pretty much got it bang on. So fuselage is prepped, everything's prepped and ready to go. We've mixed up some more gray color as well too, just so we've got a full bottle, and just going to start painting all these other items. All right, it is the next day, guys, and we are ready to start painting our black. So overall, the gray color turned out absolutely awesome. It's a very, very close match to the gray that I got matched on the large A10, and turned out just beautiful. So what we're going to do now is we are going to paint all of the black stuff on the fuselage, on the wing. We are going to do that all freehand. So what that means ultimately is we're going to turn our airbrush down a bunch, and what I'm going to do initially is just focus on the edge and focus on that, getting our actual design laid out, and then I might turn it up a little bit and fill in the rest. But that's the beauty of using an airbrush. If you've never used one, play around with it. It's tons of fun, but you can get nice fine lines and really get everything mapped out. And we don't have to worry about prepping anything off and whatnot. So I think I'm going to focus on the wing first, just because it's a fairly easy shape. And so let's get things geared up and start working on that. All right, so all of our parts have been painted. There's a shot of the wing there for you. Happy that turned out really nice. And then we've got the fuselage as well too. Again, I think that turned out really, really good. It's gonna be a really sharp looking little plane. Again, this is hands down the best scheme for an A10. It is such a cool looking scheme. There's a bit of an overhead shot there for you. Looks really good. So next thing we're working on is the nomenclature installation, the decals, the stickers, the decals, whatever you want to call them, whatever floats your boat, it's okay. So we're going to start off with the rudders or vertical stabs first, and that's going to be our starting point for this thing. So let's get these installed. All right, guys, unfortunately, we've hit a bit of a snag here with our decal kit. So I think all of this was supposed to be in white, and unfortunately we got it in black. So if we were to put this on the verticals, and I didn't even think about this before until right now, if we put this on the verticals, it's going to show up not at all. So we pretty much need the sheet done up in white. So I've contacted Cali Graphics, and they'll get it taken care of, no problem. So a little bit of a pause for this project. We're going to put it on hold, but once we get the replacement sheet, we will definitely get this thing finished up. All right, guys, we are back on the Eflite Blacksnakes switchover. It's been a couple weeks since we've done anything with this aircraft. And I know to you it feels like just a blip, but we did get the replacement graphics from Cali Graphics. So thank you, Cali Graphics, for sending these through. And so we've got our white snakeheads there, and we've got all of our white decals to install on the aircraft. So next step here, as we know, we're going to be installing all of the nomenclature on the aircraft. So we're going to basically start off with the fuselage, move into the wing, the rudders, all those kind of things, and we'll get all of the graphics on this aircraft, and we'll take a look at it when it is complete. So it's a little more challenging doing a small aircraft like this, especially a foamy, compared to something that's fiberglass, just because the aircraft itself is so delicate. So anyways, we've got that done, and we've got a couple little touch-ups of paint to do, and then we will be installing the matte varnish. So this is going to be the finish coat for it. That's going to seal the paint and seal the graphics on and everything, and get the right finish for this aircraft. So I'm going to do the paint touch-ups, and then we'll get our airbrush set up and get this stuff installed. All right, so all of our parts are painted now or clear coated now, and everything looks good. It's a really nice finish on this, and looks pretty darn awesome. So next step is we are going to pull all of our prep off. So everything that we masked off before needs to come off. So let's do that. All right, guys, and there it is, the Blacksnakes A10 in the Eflite 64mm EDF. Turned out really nice. It's just resting together right now. It's not permanently together because the tail needs to be glued on, but overall I'm happy with the result. The only thing that I'm not happy about is the underside of the snake here. It's really not that significant, but there's just a couple creases in the decal, and so that's the only thing that I'm really not happy with. It's a little bit hard to do that curvy decal on the foam aircrafts because you can't heat it up, you can't put pressure on it, so you just have to do the best you can. But that's kind of the only thing that I'm not overly happy about with the paint job or the swap. But that is it. It turned out awesome. All right, so last step is we are going to get this put back in there. We're not going to do it in the video. That's why I marked everything out so we know where everything goes. But we're going to put that back in the foam package, back in the regular box, back in the cardboard box when the clear coat is nice and solid. All right, guys, and that is the A10 swap over. I mean, it was a decent amount of work. It wasn't too crazy. The nice thing about doing stuff small scale like this is you can use an airbrush and it works well. The lines are pretty faded as far as, you know, if you compare this to the big A10 that we did. And, but overall, it's a great looking little aircraft. I don't know if the owner is even going to fly this thing, and I don't know if I would either. Like, it looks really good, honestly. Like, in person, it looks great. This is one of those aircraft that I wouldn't have a problem painting it and hanging it on my wall. I think it would look awesome. So hopefully he does fly it. And if he does, maybe I'll get some video of it or some pictures at least. But really, really cool little project. Fairly quick overall, other than the delay waiting for the replacement graphics. But overall, happy with it. So that's everything for this video, guys. If you're thinking about changing the scheme on these little things, hopefully this video helps you a little bit. Don't be too deterred by it. It's not an overly complex thing. It just takes time. So thanks, guys, for watching. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below if you're not a subscriber to the channel. And if you do subscribe to the channel, you'll get notified of new videos if you hit that bell down below as well too when you hit subscribe. So that's it, guys. Thanks so much for the support. Thanks for watching my videos, and we'll see ya in the next one.